Good evening, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. Oh my goodness, guys, I am so tired, and honestly, I felt pretty crummy today. The only time I actually felt good all day today was when we were out at the football game, which is really weird because I remember a lot of times when I was sick, like during the football season, when Jack played in youth football and I was coaching and we would like go to the practices like at night and stuff like that. And you'd expect like, oh, it's cold out. It was raining at the game today on top of that too. Like, oh, that's probably when you feel most miserable. It's actually when I felt the best because I don't know if it was like from the cold air or like what it was, but it gave me so much relief. Like I was able to breathe. It was really nice, but like I said, I don't really know why. Like it was actually really nice out today. It was just sort of cool. Like I wore jeans and a sweatshirt and I had a long sleeve shirt on, and honestly it was not cold like at all. And then the crummy part was, like I said, it was raining, so it actually downpoured horribly while we were actually driving to the football game. And we ended up getting there because I told you guys too, like we have to take Jack to the high school so that he can get on the bus to go for the varsity. So we had to leave at about like 5:15, and I think the frost-off game actually starts at 5 o'clock. So we left like later than when it was even starting anyway. And then when we ended up getting there, the game was at halftime. So we ended up watching like half of the game, and then we ended up watching the varsity game after that. And it was, like I said, downpouring while we were actually driving. And it's like maybe 15-minute to 20-minute drive or something like that. We actually got off on the right turn this time because it's actually at the same high school as when we played it away, not last week because we were at home, but 2 weeks ago. And so it's actually at the same location, but the two different high schools use that field. It's like at the same place though. And so 2 weeks ago we got off actually on the wrong turn. This time we got off on the right turn, and it was so much easier. Oh my gosh, we didn't have to drive like through all of this little like downtown area or anything like that. So it's actually a lot faster. But yeah, so within that period of time it actually downpoured and then stopped raining, which was really nice. And then like I said, when we got there, the game was at halftime and it wasn't raining at all. And then there was like little spurts of rain sort of here and there, and it wasn't until probably the fourth quarter, maybe a little bit like towards the end of the third, I think, which at that point, because the game was such a blowout, the clock was running clock after halftime, so I don't really even know if it was the third or fourth quarter. But then after that it started really raining and really sort of downpouring. But guys, I remembered to bring my rain slicker and ended up wearing that, and so it really actually wasn't that bad. I put that on as well. But like I was saying too, I just felt like for some reason the cool air just like, and maybe it was just the fresh air too, but like it really wasn't. I think it was like 80 something, I don't know. I thought that's what my mom said, that today was like 80. It was weird though, because okay, I could not fall asleep last night at all. And I was in such a like light sleep too because I was so scared. I tried to fall asleep, I couldn't, and it was sort of because like my nose was stuffed up and everything like that, and like I couldn't breathe through my mouth for some really weird reason. Like my teeth kept hurting like whenever I was breathing through my mouth because I was pretty stuffed up that I couldn't actually breathe really well through my nose. So again, like normally when you can't breathe through your nose, you wind up breathing through your mouth, especially while you're sleeping, like when you're sick and everything like that. And so that's what I was doing, but my teeth kept hurting like super bad. So I finally got into sort of a position where like my nose wasn't clogged on one side and I could sleep with my mouth closed. And so like I started to drift off to sleep, and I had already not been able to fall asleep. Like it was probably 2 or 3 hours that I laid in bed not being able to fall asleep. I don't know if it was just because I wasn't tired or what it was, or because I was just really uncomfortable. But normally, like, what if I'm not feeling good? That's why I'm telling you guys, like, this is so weird because, like, today I actually probably felt maybe, it's weird. I don't want to say, like, the worst out of these 3 days so far, but, like, because we were at the football game, I felt like I actually felt really good while we were actually at the football game, watching the game and everything like that. Because like I said, it just like, I don't know what it is, like the cold air, like being able to breathe that in and stuff like that, it's just so like, there's so much more relief. And then we got in the car, my dad's like, oh, I'm freezing cold, because like, you know, he was out, didn't have an umbrella or anything like that, it's out on the sidelines coaching and stuff like that. He's like, do you guys mind if I turn the heat up? And I was like, everybody's like, no, no, no. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe anymore again, because it's like so hot in the car, and like stuffy and stuff like that. So I feel like it's just like the fresh air like really helped. So that's why I don't want to say like I felt the worst sort of, but like today I've been probably the most congested out of all of the days. But last night I wasn't even really that congested, but like finally, like I said, I got comfortable. I could still like breathe through one nostril, and I like started to drift off to sleep. This was probably almost 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had been in bed for about like 2 or 3 hours by this point. And I hear my dad get up for work, because he gets up at about 3 o'clock. Then I like I said, I'm like slowly drifting off to sleep, and I actually adjusted my TV so that it would go off a little bit later, because like I said, normally I have it set for like an hour and a half it goes off. And since it was already like a couple hours that I've been laying in bed trying to fall asleep, I was like, I'm just gonna leave the TV on until I finally actually am like really ready to fall asleep. It was about 3 o'clock, or a little bit before that, I think like 2:30 or something. I set the timer on my TV for like an hour, so we'll go off after an hour. So like I said, around 3 o'clock, I'm like dozing off. I'm like in this like really insanely light sleep, and I could hear everything that was going on around me. I heard my dad start the car up. I heard him making his coffee. I heard him taking a shower. I heard the dog walking around in the hallway. Like I remember all of this. And like I said, I was actually like asleep at this point, but totally not asleep. I could still hear the TV and was like listening to everything, but I was actually like asleep. It was, like I said, an insanely light sleep. Like I was still totally conscious of like everything that was going on around me, but I was just like knocked out. Like I was just so exhausted though. Like, and not even that I was really that exhausted, because I feel like if I was, I'd just fall asleep and like whatever, you know, but like I just was finally like, I just have to fall asleep, like forcing myself to try to, and I think that that's what it was. Like it kept sort of keeping me up, but it's sort of creepy because I've like occasionally sort of been in like a light sleep like that, but like again, I knew everything that was going on like around me. So then it's like, like I said, about 3:30 and my television turns off, and I was like, oh, like the TV's off now, and I could hear everything, like I said, now almost more of what was going on too. Like I could hear, like, I don't know if there was a dog outside or like our neighbors or something. Like I heard something else too, and like I heard my dad outside. Like I said, I could hear him going through the laundry room door. Like I could hear everything, and it was very like vivid too. So I was like, I need to turn the TV back on just to sort of drown out whatever other noise. Like I could hear all the cars driving down the street. Like it was like really annoying too, because I also felt like I couldn't sleep because I could hear everything that was going on. So I like sort of woke myself up to like go turn the TV back on and like reset it, and then all of a sudden I sat up. I was like choking, like everything from like my sinuses and everything like that was like dripping in my throat, and I literally like almost choked in the middle of the night. And I started to scare myself too, because then I started coughing and like could not stop coughing. And yeah, it was really bad. I could not fall asleep. And then I was like terrified to sleep after that, because I was like, what if this happens again? So I was trying to sleep literally completely straight up, so that like I wouldn't, because I was actually fine. I wasn't congested when I was sitting straight up, but as soon as I laid down, like I couldn't breathe again. So I was like, there has to be some sort of way for me to like lay like sitting up almost. So shout out to my IKEA pillows that I got, and then ended up realizing that they weren't the kind that I wanted, and ended up getting the other ones from Target anyway, because I was able to prop them up enough though where I was actually able to almost sleep sitting up practically, which was actually finally really nice. And again, I finally was able to fall asleep. It was like wonderful at that point. So I feel like I don't know, tonight maybe will be a little bit better. I feel like also too, because I did take that nasal spray so late at night yesterday, I feel like that also maybe played a little bit of a role into it. Like I had a stuffy nose, but I think because I used the nasal spray, it was just so like my nose was just very like runny almost, and I think everything was running sort of like backwards, and like I said, that's when I almost choked myself in the middle of the night. So yeah, it was, like I said, sort of a scary experience. And like I've not ever been sick to that point where like when I'm sick I just want to sleep. I couldn't sleep last night like at all, and yeah, like I said, normally when I'm sick, I will just sleep. It's, you know, your body needs that anyway. And for some weird reason last night, I could not. And I don't know, like, I was uncomfortable. I was just like, what it is. Like, I never understood really why people took, like, NyQuil and stuff like that. Just because I was like, normally when I'm sick, that's when I get the best sleep. Like, and once I finally actually did fall asleep, which was probably not until about 5 o'clock, which is, I woke up really late today because of it. That is why I'm like, why do people take that? Like, I get the best sleep when I wind up, you know, when I'm sick. And I did, again, between probably about 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock is how long I ended up getting, like 6 hours of sleep. So I did not get very much sleep at all. So I'm sure that I'm tired tonight. And again, like, I feel like, again, I'm hoping that taking a shower, everything like that will just help. But I also found in the closet like some of the Vicks and stuff like that, so I'm hoping that again too, like, because that was the thing, I like couldn't breathe through my nose, and like breathing through my mouth was just, it was also bothering my throat too, because it was so dry, like the air was so dry and cold too, that like my teeth were hurting me because I was breathing through my mouth so much too. And so it's like, this is a horrible vicious cycle right now. I like could not sleep. And so again, once I finally, I don't know, was able to like prop myself up more, I think I finally fell asleep and like got really good sleep. But yeah, as far as the football game went, my uncle actually was supposed to come with my cousins, but then they saw that the weather was supposed to be really bad, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll probably not wind up coming, which again, it didn't actually end up raining until really the 4th quarter anyway, but it was pretty much a blowout. I don't think we scored any points, and we gave up like 41, I think. And it's funny too, because my dad thought that the team we played last week, that we actually hung in the game so well, he thought that they were a better team than the team we played today. But yeah, I don't know, we didn't look very good. The Frost-Off game was actually super close. They ended up getting the ball back with like, I think like 3 minutes or 2 minutes or something like that. They ended up scoring, but they didn't get the 2-point conversion, so they weren't able to tie it up. And then they tried for an onside kick and didn't end up getting it. But it was such a close game, actually, too, because I think when we got there, we ended up scoring, I think, 3 touchdowns or something like that. And on all 3 of them, I think they didn't get the 3-point conversion, and they still, or maybe we only saw 2 of them, but they did have 1 prior, so it was 6-8, I think, when we showed up. And then the other team like scored twice, and I think maybe they got 1 of the extra points too, or something like that. I don't remember all of what the score was, but all I know is that the final for the Frost-Off game, they ended up losing by 2, which was literally just like a 2-point. So that sort of stunk, but it was stunk too because the other team ended up blocking a, was that for the Frost-Off game? I think so. They ended up blocking a punt, and they blocked it in the end zone and got it for the touchdown, which also sort of stunk, because like they would have just like not had that mistake or something like that, probably would have been the difference of the game, and they could have won. So it was, like I said, a really close game. I honestly, like, to me, the Frost-Off game, I wouldn't, it's one of those where it's like, oh, that was just a tough loss sort of thing. It wasn't like, oh, we got killed or like anything like that, or like, you know, like, it always stinks to lose, but sometimes you have to look at it like, that was a really good game, like that was a really close game. And that was sort of how I looked at that game. And again, that's how I felt with the varsity game last week. It was like, that was a competitive game. Like, you guys might have lost, but it was a really good game. Like, today I was sort of like, The only reason I'm happy I'm out here is because I can breathe a little better. Snap a picture because Jack was actually long snapping today. I think the regular long snapper ended up getting hurt or something ended up happening. So Jack went in, I think he did 3 or 4 long snaps in the game for punting, which was pretty cool. So he ended up getting in there for that, and then just sort of played like cleanup minutes in the 4th quarter and on defense. But yeah, so like I said, I did get a picture of him actually long snapping, because that's something that, like, I don't know, he's always been like the, you know, he's always been like a middle linebacker and everything like that through all of his high school career. But because again, they had him practicing, I think last week, because they only had, I think, 1 other backup, and then Jack was like the 3rd string backup, and then the backup, I think, got hurt, and then the starter like wasn't there for one of the practices last week, and they didn't know if he was going to be there for the game or something. I don't know what it was, but anyway, so they were like, oh, Jack, you might wind up actually having to start like last week, and Jack was like, okay. You know, like, he's just, like I said, like, was like the 3rd string backup sort of, and then him actually getting to play today I thought was kind of cool, because that was like a position that, again, he normally doesn't play or like hasn't played, but he did, like I said, really good. I think, like I said, at least 2 of them were really good. 1 was a little low, but it was actually the punter's best punt on the one that was low. All the other ones actually weren't really that great. So yeah, anyways, like I said, guys, I'm gonna take a shower. I stayed up late. It's like stinging 1 o'clock right now, even though I'm exhausted and tired and got 6 hours of sleep, and I'm not feeling well. But because I needed to eat something, because I ate at the football game. I ate before we went to the football game. But whenever I am like sick and like have sinus stuff, it always winds up dripping. It upsets my stomach so bad that I feel like I constantly have to be putting food in it. It always makes my stomach sound like it's growling, and it just makes my stomach very upset. So I like always wind up trying to like stuff my face when I'm sick, and it actually is really good too, because I know a lot of people too are like, oh, when I'm sick I have no appetite. Like, I have more than an appetite when I am sick, because I don't like that feeling of like my stomach being all like gurgly and stuff like that. So I ended up making myself food, and so I stayed up late, and so yeah, I think everybody else in the house is actually sick or asleep. And no, I'm sick. My dad actually seems like he's feeling fine, and again, like, I feel like I'm hoping by tomorrow, like, I should be much better. I'm hoping it doesn't get worse from this point on, but I feel like now I sort of do have a little bit of like a cough. But you know, Jax, like I said, Jax lasted like 3 or 4 days, so, and then he was back in school, so I feel like it shouldn't be that bad either, and hopefully just move along that quickly. And that's, like I said, sort of what it seems like with my dad, because my dad had it like 2 days sort of before me, so I think he's like sort of at the end of like it now. And like Jax still sounds a little stuffy, but like he says he feels totally fine. But I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. I also will have a grocery haul for you guys as well, because I did do that today. I finished my jewel list. But anyways, I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.